What's going on, guys? It's Fuzzy. You guys went absolutely nuts on the last video that I posted about roster update predictions. In that video, we talked about golds that might go to diamonds. In this video, because you guys wanted it, we're going to talk about silvers that are probably going to go gold this year. Before we start the video, I do want to say thank you so much for 22,000 subscribers. 22 is my favorite number. So when I hit 22,022, that really made me happy. I sent it to my dad because that's also my dad's favorite number. But guys, thank you all so much for the support. I don't want to waste your time, so we're going to jump straight into this video. I have a bunch of stats for you guys, so make sure that you guys have your seatbelts fastened, a notebook at your side, because we have a lot to discuss. Now, when I say we have a lot to discuss, I really mean that we have a lot of stats to talk about, so I'm not going to go over every single silver player that might go gold. If you want to see a second video, make sure that you guys like the video and leave a comment, because I definitely will, but there's 12 pages of silver players. I can't go through all of them, but I'm going to give you guys the top 9 to 10 players that I really think are going to go gold before the All-Star break. The first player that we have to talk about is Mr. Adam Eaton. Now, I know it's only been a couple games, but he has started off this year on fire, so we're going to go ahead and jump into his 2017 stats, but keep in mind that he did not play that many games. He only played 23. If we take a look at his lefty versus righty splits, now this is where he needs to improve, okay? So he hit 182 against lefty, so in 11 at-bats, now no, that's not really a big sample size, but in 11 at-bats, he hit 182. He's got to get that up, man. I know he does have 75 contact, but if he doesn't get that up, his rating might go down. So as long as he continues the trend of hitting home runs, so he already has 2 in a couple games. If he can increase those power stats already versus righties, I think you might see Adam Eaton go gold. Honestly, he might even go gold the first update, so keep Adam Eaton on your radar. Definitely go ahead and pick him up because he only goes for about 1,100 stubs, so definitely someone that you want to keep in mind. Next up, we have one of the most popular players in the league, and it's only his second year in. So we have Mr. Benintendi. Again, almost the same situation as Adam Eaton. Now, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he does have the tools of a gold player. So his biggest thing is hitting. Now, the speed is there, the fielding is there, the vision is there. How is he going to increase his silver rating to a gold? Now, I will tell you, he did pretty well last year. So as we can see, he had a bunch of games, 75 and 76, so he played about 151 games. So against lefties, he had 112 at-bats and he hit 232, so that's why he has a 58 contact. I can say if he gets that contact versus lefty, maybe up to a 250, 260 average, and maybe the contact on the game to about 70, 75, that alone will bring Andrew Benintendi to a gold. Now, we can see that he had 1 home run against lefties, so the 37 power, that has to be improved. He had 19 home runs and 81 RBIs, so the power stats versus righties maybe could use a little increase as well. Now, if he shows a little patience as well, maybe that vision goes up even slightly, because he's got a great eye, so maybe he goes up to like an 80 vision. That will help his case as well, but he has to do great against lefties this year, otherwise he might not go gold for a while, maybe even going into next year. But definitely he is on my top 5 picks to go gold this year. Now, I'm not going to show you guys the stats for Michael Conforto, but I do think if he improves the stats against lefties even just a little bit, we all know he sucks against lefties, so I'm not going to show him. So if Michael Conforto can strike out just 10% less and take a few more walks and hit maybe just a little bit better against lefties, you're going to have one of the best overall hitting cards in the game. So definitely recommend picking up Michael Conforto. He's my dark horse. I'm not going to show the stats, but Michael Conforto, I did not want to forget him. Definitely someone you want to keep your eye on. Pollock is starting off the year on fire. As we can see, he has 4 hits and 11 at-bats. I know that's not crazy, but he's hitting 364 with 2 home runs and a stolen base. Now, the stolen base is good because he was injured last year, so we want to check out these stats versus lefties and righties. So if we go to 2017, now I know he didn't play a huge amount of games. He did play over 100. So as we can see, versus lefties, he hit 277. So that's about right, 75 contact. Versus righties, he hit 261. But if we take a look, he only had 7 home runs and 7 home runs, so 14 home runs on the year. Now, if he can increase those power stats to the point where he has a 2016 season, so if we take a look versus lefties and righties, because we know he can do it. Wait, was he injured? Maybe he was injured for 2016. All right, do we have to go back to 2015? My goodness. Yeah, if we take a look at 2015, so he had 5 home runs against lefties, but he hit 326. He had 15 home runs versus righties and hit 312. So if Pollock can stay healthy and return to his 2015 form, easy gold. That's why he has a diamond card in this game. It's for this year, okay? He definitely has gold potential, and honestly, if he's on top of his game, diamond potential. And also, maybe if he throws out a few more runners and has a few more assists, you might see that arm strength go up, because that arm really holds him back. Honestly, that's why people don't want to use him in this game, is because his arm, it's a straight noodle arm. Another player that has started off this year absolutely mashing is Mr. Justin Smoak. Now, he is turning 31, so he is getting a little bit of age, but then again, he was completely trash for the first few years of his career, so maybe he's striking gold later on in his life, hitting that fountain of youth. But if we take a look at his stats this year, in 15 at-bats, he has 7 hits, 2 home runs, and 8 RBIs already while hitting a cool 467. So let's check out those 2017 stats, because they were actually pretty decent. His hitting stats right now are actually solid in terms of the power, but the contact versus righties and the vision definitely could use some work, as well as the arm. But if we take a look at these stats versus lefties, he hit 331. Oh my gosh. So really, he's a switch hitter. He just has to up those contact stats versus righties. He did hit 252. Now he had 30 31 bombs against right-handed. Okay, so 84 power. I think that could use a boost, honestly. And the way that he's hitting this year, you might see that power go up to like an 87, 90. That alone could push him up to a 79. Now, if he increases his contact just a little bit as well, maybe get that 252 against righties up to about 270, 280. Definitely easy, the best surefire chance of going from silver to gold, I think maybe this year. But definitely someone to keep in mind. If I had to put my money on anyone, it would probably be Eaton, Justin Smoak, and Rhys Hoskins. So we'll go over Rhys Hoskins in just a second, but those are my three pretty much surefire going to go gold this year. Next up, we have Gerrit Cole. Now, it was really promising that he had a really good first start. He went 7 innings, I believe, 7 innings with a 1.29 ERA, and he had 11 strikeouts. So that is amazing. You want to see that from Gerrit Cole. And now that he has a really good team, he is now in the Astros. If we take a look at his 2015 stats, he had a 2.83 ERA at home and a 2.39 away. So he was absolutely electric. So if he can repeat that, I know in 2016, we can see that he had a 3.53 and a 4.3. It wasn't that great. Now, he only started a handful of games, like 20 games. So in 2017, kind of the same story. He had a 4.31 and a 4.21. Now, he did start a bunch of games, so that was not a good sign. But the fact that his first game on the bump for the Astros, he went 7 innings, only allowed 2 hits and 1 earned run. It was a home run. He did walk 3, so I would say if Gerrit Cole is going to go back to a gold, it's not going to be too hard because his 66 K per 9 and his hits per 9 are super low. So if he can return to 2015 and continue on the trend of having 7 innings pitched with a few hits and not as many walks, you will see the K per 9 go up and the hits per 9 because the dude had 11 strikeouts in 7 innings. That's pretty crazy. Now, this is not going to be the sexiest pick, but this guy's absolutely on fire as well. Now, it's only a handful of games, so again, I'm not trying to put too much emphasis into it, but he's hitting 462 with 3 stolen bases, 1 home run, 6 hits, and 4 runs, so he's going to be an on-base machine. Now, if we take a look at his stats, the speed and the stealing might go up. He's already got 3 stolen bases on the year already, so we'll see how that continues. Let's take a look at his hitting stats from last year, because I know he played a bunch of games as well. So he's got 62 contact versus righties, really good contact against lefties. Let's see if those power stats are there, because he has amazing vision as well. So he is pretty much on the border. So versus lefties, he had 336, so obviously 84 contact, that's going to stay there. But his downfall was that 230. So he had 12 home runs, 32 RBIs, and he had 230 against righties. So hopefully he can get that contact up just a little bit, maybe into the 260, 270 range, get that contact into the 70s against righties, maybe up that power as well, because he did have 12 home runs. So we'll see if he continues the trend of staying on fire, just like Justin Smoak, just like all the players that we talked about before. But definitely keep Kevin Pillar on your radar, and you never know. Edwin Encarnacion already has 2 home runs and 3 RBIs on the year. The biggest downfall is his fielding and his contact versus lefties. I don't know exactly if that fielding is going to get better because he is only aging, and as we can see with advanced metrics throughout the years, fielding only gets worse as you progress with age. But if we take a look at his 2017 stats, pre-All-Star break, he had 263. He only had 18 home runs and 48 RBIs. Post-All-Star, he had 20 home runs and 59 RBIs. So he is getting better. Also, he cut the strikeouts down from 82 to 51. So the fact that he progressed at the second half of the year, now he's starting off this year even better. Definitely keep Edwin Encarnacion on the map. I'm not saying he's going to go gold anytime soon, but if he can up those stats against lefties and maybe play first every so often and not make too many errors, Edwin Encarnacion, surefire gold. Now, this is a player that you guys might not know much about. We're talking about Paul Jong. He is the new starting shortstop of the St. Louis Cardinals, and they just gave him a bunch of money, so even the Cardinals know this guy is the real deal. So he has 2 home runs already, 2 RBIs. I think he hit those in the same game. So he's starting off the year on fire. He's only 24 years old, so that's a great sign. So let's check out these stats from 2017. I'm actually curious because I didn't actually see these last year. So versus lefties, 6 home runs and 14 RBIs. Didn't have too many plate appearances. He did hit 288, so pretty good contact, 77, 77, 76, and 82 with 46 vision. So let's see how he did against righties. 19 home runs and he hit 285. That's amazing right there. This guy's a really solid hitter. What we want to focus on is how did he do post All-Star break. So pre-All-Star break, he had 36 games, hit 313. So the average did dip. So post All-Star break, he had 16 home runs, 45 RBIs, and 273 average. He did strike out 86 times, which is not good. That's why the vision is super low. So if he can cut those strikeouts down just a little bit and take a few more walks, I think his hitting stats are pretty good. And now he's not the best fielder in the world. Usually hitting shortstops are not that great at fielding anyways. Just take a look at, I mean, Troy Tulowitzki is the really only outlier. That guy could do everything. But with 16 bombs, 45 RBIs in the second half alone, and now considering the fact that he's starting off this year on fire, if you need a hitting shortstop, definitely pick this guy up. So up next, we have the supposed next Mike Trout. Now again, he's only 24 years old, so he has a bunch of time to improve. He's hitting 273 on the year. Again, not really going to worry. It's only been 11 at bats. So let's take a look at the splits. Pre-All-Star, he had 5 home runs, 16 RBIs, and he hit 216. He was Actually, I would say that's kind of garbage, okay? I would say he was straight up garbage. But post All-Star break, he had 11 home runs, 35 RBIs, and he hit 300. Check that out, he hit 300, and he also had 13 stolen bases. So this guy can absolutely fly. 99 speed. If this guy can have a little bit better hitting stats, because he's got 54, 64, 57, 50, and 34 vision. So against lefties last year, he hit 282. So maybe the contact versus lefties might increase. Versus righties, he had 12 bombs and he hit 242. So I think the power might see an increase as well, but he's got to cut down on the strikeouts. As we can see, he had almost, 150, 160 plus strikeouts. So he's got to cut that down. The stolen bases maybe got to see an increase as well. And the walks, my goodness, he had 40 something walks. That is terrible. Byron Buxton, you got to improve that, man. But I do have faith in him. It's now his 3rd or 4th year in the league. I think he's going to make a comeback. Definite gold this year, and that's just my opinion. Again, my opinion, I think Byron Buxton is going gold this year because he's starting off pretty decent. I know we're skipping over a lot of guys, but I will talk about them if you want a second video. So one of the last players that we'll talk about is Mr. Rhys Hoskins. I said it right. I've been saying Rhys Hoskins for the longest time, but let's go ahead and check out Mr. Rhys Hoskins' stats. Absolutely was on fire as soon as he joined the big leagues last year. So in 2017, his rookie year, now he did hit 255, so we'll see maybe what played into that. So versus lefties, Rhys, come on, man. 171. I know he only had 41 at bats, but he's got to get that up. So we got 41 at bats. He had 171. If he can increase that, along with this 287 versus righties with 12 bombs, this guy is good. I mean, he might be the next Ryan Howard, the right-handed Ryan Howard, because again, he plays for the Phillies. So if he can get that contact versus lefties, he does hit right-handed, so he does have an advantage. Hopefully, he can make an adjustment, get this 171 up to about 240, 250. You're looking at an elite hitter right here. So the next player that we're going to talk about is someone that absolutely just went off against the Indians. That's why we're 1-2 on the year. But in those 3-game series, he had 8 at-bats, 2 runs, 5 hits, 2 home runs, and 3 RBIs. And he hit 625, not to mention. So if we take a look at his stats, he played about 90 or so games, but let's take a look at his pre-All-Star. So pre-All-Star, he hit 273 with 7 home runs and 23 RBIs, not too bad. Post-All-Star, he had 9 home runs, 24 RBIs, and he hit 290. So he did better in the second half, and now again, he's starting the year on fire. So that's a good trend to have. If you do really well the second half and then you start off pretty slow, there's some wiggle room, but if you're bad both, that's not a good sign. So he's doing well on both. Definitely someone you want to keep your eye on. So he's got 12 home runs last year, and he hit 292 against right-handed hitters. Absolutely a machine. If I remember correctly, he had an absolute bomb off of Carlos Carrasco. So as long as he can improve those lefty stats, he did hit 250 with only 4 home runs. So maybe he can get those power and contact versus lefties up a little bit, because the righty stats are going to be there. Those are going to improve. I think he's going to end the year right around 80 contact versus righties with 70, 75 power, and hopefully he can either one, just stay where he's at right now with the lefties, because it's not terrible, or maybe increase a little bit. You might be looking at 80s, 75 across the board, and definitely looking to go gold. Maybe not this year just yet, but I think going into 19, if he can stay healthy and prove that he's a capable outfielder, definite gold caliber player. And guys, that's going to be the last player for today. Again, we do have quite a few pages to go left. We only got through half of them. So if you want to see a second video like this where we just talk about who's going to go from silver to gold, we definitely can. I'm not sure if anyone really has the chance going from pages 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. So definitely let me know down in the comment section if you want to see a second video. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit, maybe not disagree with my choices as much as the first one. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
That I'm at an all-time low.